Welcome to the review. And this thing just won't stop. So let's take this out. It didn't happen. This was the previous path I drew, and probably what will end up happening next week because we likely continue going up. Individual names are bullish. See my other video on individual names. It looks like some squeezy stuff will start squeezing next week, and we have Nvidia earnings in 2 weeks. It's complicated. I'll start with some charts from Twitter. Steve Depe. This is where some retweets from Walter Dimmer, and this is what happens when the market rate of change, meaning in the 15-week rate of change, is above 20%. And this, in general, have been tops. Um, this is the Tesla run up to the stock split, and I think 5 days later it dropped, like on October. This was the December of 2021, where we had a smallish pullback and went on higher, and then we started the bear market at the beginning of 2022. This is today. I didn't check these ones, but they're probably tops as well. Anyway, the idea is that we are close to a top, but it doesn't have to be a big one. The other one is this is the RSI moving average, 50-day moving average, and it very rarely goes above 70. This time it did. Also signaled tops, but not necessarily instant tops, meaning it didn't go down the next day. For example, here in 2011, we went sideways quite a bit. Even this, like, it's a very squeezed chart, and it doesn't show the details. I have my own version of these things like this. This is my positioning indicator, and various moving averages based on it, like the based on Fibonacci, like 13, 21, 44, and 55. And also you can see that it very rarely goes above 1 as a moving average. And in general, they are tops, not necessarily big tops, but there are pullbacks. So this being said, it's super fucking complicated to figure out how this thing will topple over and if it does at all, because it depends on Nvidia earnings, I think. My best comparison, the one I can think of, is this rally here, which was the Tesla and Apple stock split rally going into October OPEX, September OPEX that year. And I think, like, this is where they announced it. Tesla announced it and Apple announced it. We are at about that for the year right now. And it went up, it went up. It had a blow-off move at the end, and then pain. And this is kind of what I expect for us. The question is, when the fuck does it begin? And that's a very difficult to answer question, because we could have a mech version of this. For example, one of those triggers for the RSI being very high was also this, not RSI, the indicator for me was this, and it had a smallish move down, 80. Not that small, but this decent size. But this is what we could see as well. And we see this move down. I don't think the market will go down for strongly before Nvidia earnings. Like, we need a catalyst. Here it was the stock split actually happening. This was the day of the stock split, and then we went downhill after that, or the day before the stock split, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was very, very close to the stock split. And big rally followed by another big rally, very similar situation to what we have now. I think 2018 was the same with this rally here, big rally before, an even bigger rally after that. I don't know what happened here. I think it was Volmageddon, like it was positioning only. When was Volmageddon? Yeah, it was Volmageddon. So we are in a situation similar to that now as well, meaning big rally, huge move up, and then blow up in VIX or whatever. But these are the two similar situations. This is the 2018 Volmageddon thing and the Tesla stock and Apple stock split in 2020. And let's talk about how it could happen. First of all, like I said, I think we continue going up. It won't be slow as this. It depends when we hit it. I think for 510, 511, if we hit it early next week, because I don't know, things squeeze and go higher, would be a good short. But then let's say we have a pullback. Let's say we get this move. We can uh, we short it and then it turns. It drops, it drops, it drops, it drops. Maybe gets to 490. And here we get to Nvidia earnings Wednesday. It's a redraw. So we go up, we go up, we go up. We have a pullback. How big would this pullback be? 3-4%. And then Nvidia beats earnings, does monster guidance or whatever, and it goes up again, and we start another big rally up. So this would be basically nothing. Plus, it can be even less than this. Plus, it can happen. Maybe we don't go that high. And so, like, let's say we go to it actually starts on Monday or something like this. I don't know. And the same kind of thing. We should pull back a bit, 2-3%, between 2 and 5, let's say. And then I don't think this will drop a lot because the market expects Nvidia earnings. In theory, it should have a run up into earnings, but it might correct before that. And then Nvidia earnings has the potential to either dump us and take us to 10% correction, going back to the beginning of the year, to the yearly open, and then bounce, or it has the potential to move us up. So in theory, that's the problem. Not in theory. That's the problem with the pullback. We don't know the timing exactly because this could stretch out into it even further. Like I have this drawn up. Let's say seems pretty okay. Like if the rally continues at a smoother pace, like we don't get a 1-2% day, something like this, which is actually more likely, we could continue going up, or going up, exactly into Nvidia earnings. And Nvidia earnings could be, even if they had good earnings, could be a sell the news event, and that could be the start of it. So it's pretty complicated to get the timing right because we have nothing to go on. The OPEX is relatively small, like it's not a big OPEX, so the expiration won't be that large. This is OPEX. So I could see us go up into OPEX and then just hover around highs because people anticipate Nvidia earnings and are waiting to see it. And then if we are near the highs, I don't think we can go even higher like this. I would expect Nvidia earnings to be a sell the news event, not necessarily because it will be bad, but because people will take profit. If let's say it jumps another 10% or something like this, I would expect a lot of profit taking there for Nvidia. So this being said, the TLDR version is I have no fucking idea, and I'm just going to wing it as I see best. For now, keep longs. Most of the stocks I proposed in the other video are longs, and just play the squeezes. We see what happens and go from there. When it turns, it turns. I kept getting into shorts and getting stopped. So yeah, like this because This is now my expectation. I think the main scenario would be we just keep going up, grinding up, and we actually keep grinding up sideways into NVIDIA earnings, and NVIDIA earnings should be the catalyst for the move down in theory. If it happens before that, I would expect the drop to be fast, like I said. So let's say we drop before that, then the drop will last until NVIDIA earnings, and it should be around 490, depending on how high we get as well. If NVIDIA earnings are good, the next phase of the bubble starts and the bull market starts, and we go even higher, and probably a larger correction going um, into March OPEX, because that one is a quarterly. Take a while to load. So yeah, very strange situation. I'm kind of tired of all these historic events happening to us now. I would like a quiet period in which things just go by the book and nothing strange happens. Yeah, what I wanted to show was not here, but actually it should be following that. Most likely the top if we go up until Nvidia earnings. It should be the fourth. So what I wanted to show is that bigger drops happen on a bearish divergence here. We hit a peak, lower peak, lower peak. This is true for the uh, drop here, and it's also true for the drop that started the bear market in 2022. So if we get the bullish reaction to the Nvidia earnings, so let's say we do this, we start correcting uh, thing on February 14th, like Chem says, we go down, we go like probably to 490. Actually, I wanted to add another thing here. We are from the early one. This is one that usually gets tested. This would be our target for like a full correction. And assuming it just keeps going like this, it should be here, like 488, 490. Yeah, this is decent. So let's say we start a correction, because given how overextended things are, especially on tech, uh, it's it's perfectly reasonable for a correction to start at any point. So if this is the correction and it starts now, I would expect it's going to be shallow and it's going to be turned on Nvidia earnings. Without this major catalyst that is a negative reaction to their earnings, which would make it quote unquote a real uh, event and pullback, not just because of technicals, uh, it it will likely act as a bounce. So it will give us the trigger for a bounce. So it will only be 1 week of pullback, then we go back down, and we start going up again, and the bigger correction will be on March OPEX. This is just speculation because we don't know where the top is going to be. So yeah, between 2 and 5% if we get the correction before Nvidia earnings. If we don't get the correction before Nvidia earnings, I still think we get a pullback. It's still going to be shallow, maybe back to 5K, depends where we are as well. Maybe we even overshoot 510, we go to 515 or something like that in anticipation of Nvidia earnings. Then we would go back to 500 and bounce off 500. If their earnings are actually bad, it's not just a reaction to people taking profit, then we can get even more. But still, I don't think the next drop is going to be big and impulsive. The only scenario where that happens is Nvidia earnings are, we start the correction before that, we go down here, then the reaction to Nvidia earnings is also negative, and then we go back here to the yearly open. And assuming like 410 would be the top, that would be like 7-8%, which is perfectly reasonable and still a bull market. Yeah, that's kind of it. Took a long time to say I don't know, right? Well, anyway, have a good one. Bye bye.